reporting that the Celtics investigation found Udoka used crude language with a female subordinate before starting an improper workplace relationship with her. So that adds more info to how Ime got suspended. But this nugget paints a picture of where Udoka stands with ownership. Woj writing, quote, "Sources told ESPN the Celtics won't stand in Udoka's way should he have the chance to become a coaching candidate elsewhere," end quote. To me, this shows the Celtics distancing themselves from Udoka further and already setting the tone that he won't return to the team after this suspension. Other teams have tried to gather info on why Ime was suspended for a full season, so outside interest to hire him has begun, but the Celtics not standing in that way.
Welcome to another episode of the Jay Lex Podcast. I am your host, Jay Lex. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment on the content. I appreciate you rocking with me. Today's episode, fellas, it's y'all's turn. I don't remember which episode it was, but I basically got at the ladies, some of these unrealistic bonnet extension, fake nail wearing ladies, thinking that they're better than they actually are. What I said was the truth. Some of y'all didn't like it. I don't care. But today, I come for you guys. Yes, y'all. The men's in them. And before, y'all can call me a simp. Y'all can call me whatever it is that you want to. I really don't care. Everything that I'm going to say here is not only my opinion, but is based in reality. Some of y'all need to step your games up. That's the God's honest truth. I'm not just talking about financially and things along those lines. You know, it's one of the reasons that so many of these ladies are so disenfranchised, are so angry, are so bitter, is because of some of y'all out here. I'm not talking about the regular 9-to-5er. I'm not talking about the person who has a second job. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about y'all, some of y'all who are running around out here with trying to juggle multiple women, trying to live a facade. Y'all have every expensive thing under the sun. I blame the ladies, and some of y'all men do this too. Some of y'all ain't got a pot to piss in, but you got Timbs, you have expensive jewelry, you have expensive clothing. You're sitting there promoting a lifestyle that you don't actually have. And yeah, some of those women are into that, and so they're into you. Some of y'all are out here still living in your mama's basement, eating top ramen. Nothing wrong with top ramen. I used to eat in college too. Out of shape. On the block. And this ain't just for black people. This is people in general. All right? Talking about the things that you accomplished in yesteryear. Yesteryear was 20 years ago. You need to get over yourself. Now that's more generalization. But what I want to talk about specifically today, we know like 2 weeks ago, the suspended coach, which makes no sense, but the suspended coach of the Boston Celtics, Ime Udoka, I'm not pronouncing his last name right. Anyway, we know that he got into a bunch of trouble with the Boston Celtics for having an inappropriate, having a consensual relationship, at least from the story, it can always change, but a consensual relationship with a married woman within the organization. Now, she, as we understand it, does not work for the organization, but her husband does. So the Boston Celtics essentially put this man on administrative leave for this upcoming season that starts in just about, 3 weeks now? The NBA season starts, something like that. Huge story. She's obviously either engaged, or I believe she's engaged to, not married to, but engaged, and has a child with Nia Long, one of the finest women, in her day. She's still beautiful, just, older now. But some of y'all men were coming to that man's defense, saying that he shouldn't have lost a job. Now, I want to be clear about something. When we originally heard the story was it was an employee of the organization. We were all wondering why it was that this man was having he was having relations. I don't know him and Nia's relationship. I heard some things about open relationship, whatever the case might be. But originally I said if he's going to get in trouble, she should be able to get in trouble. By the way, sidebar, Boston Celtics, y'all handled that situation terribly. Y'all the ones who put all that information out there saying he should have been suspended, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing, that you were going to suspend him for the year, saying that he had a consensual a sexual relationship with somebody. How do you suspend somebody a year for a relationship? I guess it's in your bylaw. So he said, fine, whatever. You had to do what you had to do. Didn't agree with it, but it is what it is. Then we heard later it wasn't, that it was like the VP's wife. A whole bunch of bullshit came out. Longer story short, I'm putting all that aside. Longer story short, that man jeopardized his coaching future in the National Basketball Association, one of 30 jobs right now in the world or in the NBA, and jeopardized his entire future for what Coach Greg Adams often calls a piece of peace leave. Okay, I don't care how beautiful she was. I don't care what your relationship was with Nia. You should have either broken up with her, whatever the case might be. Supposedly they don't see each other enough, whatever it is. So maybe she's doing some things too on the side. I have no clue. But as a man, I understand the urges. Trust. You see beautiful women out every single day. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're in, Milwaukee or Oklahoma City or one of those kind of, random places. The talent might not be all there. I get it. But you do not, at least from the reports, put your career in jeopardy. Your coaching career. He just took this team to the NBA Finals. His first year as a head coach. He had a bright future in the city of Boston. Probably could have taken him to other final trip. Possibly winning an NBA championship. And if that were the case, he'd be I believe he'd be the first black head coach. I can't think of anybody off the top. Well, maybe Bill Russell. Maybe Bill Russell might have been he was a player coach, so I think he won a championship. But I think as a head coach, like where you're not a player, I don't think anybody's done it. Not that I can really think of. But anyway, you had a bright future ahead of you, and it all went down the drain. Look, you can come back next year and coach. It will forever be a part of you. And that's not to say that there's not other people who do things, but when you're in that position, when you have the light on you that hard, never mind what you did for other black people and no. This is about you. And this is to other men as well, especially younger men. Don't put yourself in a position, okay, as beautiful as she might be, as fine as it might look, where you could potentially ruin financial opportunities and your reputation for the future, because that is very important. Your reputation, in particular, in the workforce, is extremely, extremely important. Ime Udoka could cure pancreatic cancer tomorrow, and he will forever be known as the guy who slept with the VP's wife, allegedly. He could make $100 trillion and feed every poor person in the world. You know what's the first thing that's going to come up? In 2022, Ime Udoka was caught in a scandal, blah, 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 blah. Men, I am talking to you. Okay, I'm a little older than some of y'all. Some of y'all are a little older than me. I'm always trying to learn. We're talking to the young man. I get it. But you have to think about the long-term ramifications. In particular, in this day and age, with things like Me Too and ultra-feminism running around. You are one bad relationship decision away from your entire life being wrecked. You are one bad decision away from your reputation being sullied and not being able to come back from it. We are in the internet age. Mostly everything is you can Googleable or whatever. All that stuff can be looked up. You have to learn to control your urges. I get it. We all have them. Once those hormones hit, especially when you hit, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, and they might slow down when you get a little bit older. But you have to understand that there's a bigger picture out here. And I'm not going to sit here and argue about, especially if you're black and this. You could be You could be Asian. You could be various Caucasian. All it takes is one person saying, he made me feel uncomfortable, for your reputation to forever be sullied. That's why a lot of people don't even approach women anymore. That's why a lot of men don't even approach anymore. Because they are literally fearful that she might say something or she might change her mind, which they're entitled to do. Doesn't necessarily make it true. But the reality is, that is your entire reputation that can be sullied and destroyed based upon something that was supposed to be innocent, or based upon something that was supposed to be consensual. Supposedly, how they found out, or the husband found out about this entire situation was, the Ring cameras that people have. Supposedly, she was talking about it, and it recorded a conversation she was having, and the husband must have gone back and rewound the tape and heard the whole thing. And now that man's gonna his entire coaching future he might have to go to coach the Shanghai Sharks or some nonsense like that, some team like that over there in communist China. The only thing I don't understand about it is if supposedly this man was a sexual predator and he was stalking and blah blah blah, so you put him on administrative leave with half pay. None of it makes sense. Anywho, men, putting aside the extreme things that none of us should be co-signing here, what you need to do is protect yourself. You need to control your urges. Like I said, all it takes is one woman saying you made her feel uncomfortable for you to be looked at funny pretty much for the rest of your life. There was a story out of, I think it was Long Island somewhere. A young woman, she's actually, they put her in prison for a year, but this young woman was out there cheating and doing whatever, and then her, I think it's her boyfriend was going to find out, so she didn't want the boyfriend thinking funny of her, so she went and said the guy she was cheating with raped her. Then she had to recant in court, and they put her in jail. Understand something. That is a rarity. Most women out here who say that who lied about certain things, as it pertains to a sexual nature, as it pertains to something like that, more times than not, don't have any repercussions. Now I know some women are going to see this. So what about all the men? That's not what we're talking about right now. Don't deflect. We know that there's plenty of men out here who got away with sexually harassing a woman, or in some cases raping a woman, because the woman was too afraid to take it to a DA, or the DA was too afraid to do it because they previously had a sexual relationship. I get all of that. That is not to be disputed here. What I'm saying is, gentlemen, you need to be smart as it pertains to who it is that you're dealing with. You have to read the red flags. If there's anything that you find funny about them, walk away. I know that's difficult. It's difficult sometimes, as beautiful as she is, or whatever the case might be. But you have to ultimately think about your well-being and your reputation going forward. Because once that stuff is out there, even if we recently saw, who was it? Johnny Depp. He talked about it in his case against Amber Heard. Even though she, for the most part, I'm presuming, I didn't watch the entire case, but a lot of that stuff she told was either lies or didn't make any sense. She got sued and lost in court, which was another rarity. But he even said during the case, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically he lost like Pirates of the Caribbean, and he basically looked and said, for the rest of my days, I will be forever associated with this case, with this situation with Amber Heard. And that was his wife. They were married. She went out there and ruined his reputation, ruined his Hollywood reputation. I'm not saying he's not a weirdo or anything along those lines. I don't know Johnny Depp. And he won that case. He won the defamation suit. I think she also won some money, but like he won more, like $10 million, something like that. But his reputation will forever be sullied. This is why I talk about feelings and stuff like that. We all know about Will Smith, my favorite goddamn actor of all time, Will Smith. Doing the most sucker shit I've ever seen in my entire life. We all know what he's talking about. I don't even want to bring it up. That's how mad I am about the situation. You don't understand how angry I was when I saw Will Smith do what he did to Chris Rock over some joke during the Oscars. Ruined his entire reputation. Now I guess he has some slave movie coming out called Emancipation or something like that. The man can't even go to the Oscars. If he gets nominated for an Oscar, he's been banned from going for the next decade. That's probably good for him, just because, nobody really cares about the Oscars. But I guess it's supposed to be up for a consideration for an Oscar because it's supposed to be really good, like most of the slave movies are. Or he's supposed to be going up for a nomination. And now that movie is in jeopardy of not even, I know Apple talked about they were still going to drop it even though everything had happened, or they were going to move forward with it. But most of the people who are going to see there, based upon their feelings, are not going to, even if it's a great film, are not going to nominate it for Best Picture, Director, things along those lines. Supposedly, Bad Boys 4 is in jeopardy. Because Will Smith did what? Allowed his emotions to get the best of him, and he went up there and made an ass of himself for the entire world to see. Over some woman who shows him little to no respect. I should say no respect. Putting out full apologies on her red table talk bullshit. Oh. Now, I rarely get emotional about things, especially related to entertainers, but the man is my favorite actor of all time. And to see him do some sucker shit like... Anyway. This is why during these episodes I talk about controlling your emotions. Sometimes it's good to get angry. But sometimes it's good to fall back. Sometimes it's necessary to be manly. And sometimes it's necessary to take a step back. Like I said, we live in an age where everything is upside down. If you do anything that is manly, it's considered toxic. A good portion of these women out here sit here and talk about toxic masculinity and equality and everything along those lines, but it comes with provisions. When it's time to lift something heavy, guess what? You need to do it. Everything because of what happened in the past and things along those lines. Most of these women have never faced real hardships. Most people face some type of hardship. Look, racism and all those other things still exist. We know this. But most of the people today don't know what real hardship is, barring you grew up poor or something along those lines, or you grew up in a single-parent home or something along those lines. Most people today don't know what hard is. There were laws in place where you couldn't use a bathroom. And if you did, you could be arrested. That's hard. That's difficult. Not the bullshit going on, some of the bullshit going on today. Yes, there's still hard things going on today. I get it. Gentlemen, what you need to do is take care of yourself. Going to the gym, learning a discipline, a physical discipline, being about your business. Okay, most of the people in the world who have money don't need to chase women. They don't need to be players. Trust me, though, the days of being a player and a pimp and all that other jazz are over. You want to show a strong pimp game? You know what she's going to say to you? What's your she's like, donate to my Cash App. That's it. It's all analytical now. And once you understand that, and so you see a lot of people in the manosphere, O'Shea Drew Jackson, Coach Greg Adams, there's a couple other people off the top of my head. Kevin Samuels, rest in peace to him. There's other people in there who talk about these things. And people often ask why you have to be one of those people who's willing to walk away. And you say, well, why? Because your reputation's at stake. And most important, even more so, is your peace of mind. Understanding assets versus liabilities. And a lot of women, not all of them, but a lot of women are liabilities. If they don't add to you being better, they are a liability. It's like buying an expensive car. Do you need it? Are you doing it just to show out so that you can get laid? That is a liability. She has to be an asset to you. She has to be an addition, not a subtraction. And part of that is you. Don't just look at the short skirts. There's a meme out there. I'm paraphrasing, but basically, especially when like the summertime comes around, you get all the sundresses out, and it goes like, don't let a $7 or a $10 sundress turn into 18 years or something like that. That's what we're talking about. That's what that means. Yes, she looks wonderful in that sundress. All right, hair glistening, hair nice, nails nice. Oh, you take her home, it's wonderful. And as Kanye said, 18 years. 18 years. She got one of your kids, got you for 18 years. You have to learn to control yourself. The days of men going out there, I shouldn't say it's all done, because I saw some rapper who has like 14 kids by 14 different women, which is silly. I don't remember his name, which is silly. Some southern rapper. Ridiculous. There are men out here back in the days who were sitting there having 25, 30 kids by a bunch of women. It doesn't make any sense. How do you take care of all those children? Those days are over with, gentlemen. You need to learn discipline. Financially, you need to learn discipline in terms of the bedroom. Yes, I know. For everybody, it gets a little boring sometimes. But it is better for it to be boring than for it to be stressful. Would you rather be the bored guy, or would you rather be the suspended head coach of the Boston Celtics a year after making the NBA Finals? The choice is yours. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Lex Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Take care.